Okay, let's do writing equations in standard and point slope forms. Remember, we already learned standard. It was ax plus by equals c. So we're going to be doing that again. So we're going to start with point slope, and point slope is this formula right here. Now, some of you might be saying, well, that looks so weird. That's going to be so hard. Really and truly, guys, all it is we're taking the slope formula and making it into this. So all they've done is taken the slope formula, okay, sorry, it's making all this tapping noise. Okay, so it's basically the same thing. So what they've done is you're only going to be using 1 point. So they've taken away the little 2 that's on there, because that little 2, that indicates that we're talking about 0.2. And in this case, we're going to only be using 1 point. It's called the point slope. There's one slope and 1 point. Sorry about that. I have to. Okay. What we're going to do is rewrite it so that the y is on this side. And there we have it. So if you ever have a hard time figuring out what the point slope is, you can think of your slope formula, and hopefully that will help. So what are the two things we need? We need a slope and we need 1 point. So we're going to write this down. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. We're going to replace the y, which is 7, the m, which is negative 3 over 2, x minus a negative 2. And that is in point slope form. So if we wanted to graph it, I would go to the point negative 2, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plot the point. My slope is negative. So we're going to go down 3 into the right 2. 1, 2, 3 over 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 2. Beautiful. And draw a line. Now, some of you may have said, but can we just put it in slope-intercept form? Sure, we can put it in slope-intercept form. So negative 3 over 2x minus, the 2's will cancel, I get 3. Add 7 to both sides, and I get y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 4. And there we have it. So I want you guys to do this one on your own. Pause the video. Okay, so let's look at what it is. There we go. We put it into point slope. We graphed it. And there we put it into slope-intercept form. Okay, next. This time we've been given 2 points, but we have not been given the slope. So the first thing I have to do is I have to find the slope. So negative 3 minus a negative 7, 6 minus 2. That will get me 4 over 4. Making sure I'm doing it right. That's a 1. So next thing I have to do, I have to pick one of the 2 points. So I'm just going to pick the first one. Y minus a negative 7 equals 1x minus 2. Now, we don't actually have to write that 1. okay? Or if I use the other point, that would be y minus a negative 3 equals 1 times x minus 6. Now, some of you are like, but will they come out to the same thing? Well, let's look at it. Will they come out to the same thing? I subtract 3, I get y equals x minus 9. If I did this one up here, I'm going to write it over here just because I don't have a lot of space. Subtract 7. Look at this. They come out to the exact same thing. So, again, I don't want that color. These two equations are the same thing. That's that in point slope form. So I want you to do this. Pause the video. This is what you should have gotten. Okay, down here, we need to change this to slope-intercept form. So that's what we just did on the last couple of problems when I showed it to you. Plus 12, because all I'm doing is multiplying this through, then subtracting 4 to the other side. Y equals negative 2x plus 8, and we're all finished. Over here, I want you to do it. Now, I did it two different ways. I did it the first way with just multiplying through. The second way I did it, because some of you don't like fractions, I went ahead and got rid of the fraction so that it would be easier. If we look over here, it says fractional slopes. When working with an equation with a fractional slope, it is often simpler to first multiply each side of the equation by the denominator. This will eliminate distributing a fraction later in the equation. So, either way, you could have done this, but because 2 goes evenly into 8, it was simpler to just multiply straight through. Okay, so next we're reading. Nadia's book club is ordering new novels. She knows that the total cost of 5 books is $61.25, and 15 books is $159.75. Write an equation in point slope to represent the total cost. So y is the total cost, and ordering of the books is the x value. Okay, so I'm going to look at the first one. The first one says 5, 61.25. The second one says 15, oops, that's not supposed to be a 9, 159.75. So first things first, I need to find the slope. So when I'm finding the slope on this, I take 159.75, and some of you are like, why did you pick that one first? Because it'll come out as a positive number. So I take 15, I subtract 5. And no, I don't know that off the top of my head. So we are going to use a calculator. Minus 61.25, and I got 98.50 over 10. So that means my slope is going to be 9.85. So what does that mean? That's an 8. That means it's $9.85 per book. But that's not what it's asking for, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to pick one of these 2 points. Actually, I'm going to do it with both of the points. So if I was to pick the first point, it's still tapping so much. Sorry about that. 9.85, and that's x minus 5. And that's in point slope. Or if I use the other one, it would be 159.75 equals 985 and x minus 15. So either one of those would be the answer. Okay, so I want you to do this next one. Pause the video and do this next one. Okay. You should have found that this was 2.5. The going up down here was 650, or you could subtract them. And then that is what you got for an answer. Okay, so next, we're going to change this to standard form. First, we have to remember that this is standard form, where A, B, and C are integers. That means no fractions or decimals. And A is positive. So, get rid of that fraction. I'm going to multiply both sides of the equal sign by 5. So I get 5y minus 5 equals, this 5 cancels with this 5. So negative 2 times the quantity, x plus 3. 5y minus 5 equals negative 2x minus 6. I want this to be on the other side. So I'm going to add 2x. So I get 2x plus 5y minus 5 equals negative 6. Add 5 to both sides and get 2x plus 5 equals negative 1. And I didn't erase part of this, so give you the hint, get rid of the fraction. And there you go. Okay, so next one, we need to put this in point slope and then put it into standard form. So first things first, I need the slope. So negative 11 minus a negative 4 over negative 6 minus 8. When I do this, I get negative 7 over negative 14, which m is equal to 1/2. Then I'm going to plug it in. Y plus 4 equals 1/2 x minus 8. And I'm not going to get rid of the 1/2 by multiplying. Yet. I'm going to do it now because I don't want any fractions. Could I have done it at any time? Sure. So I get 2y plus 8 equals x minus 8. Subtract x over negative x plus 2y plus 8 equals negative 8. I get negative x plus 2y equals negative 16. And many of you are like, oh, I'm finished. Nope. Got to multiply both sides of the equal sign by negative 1 because you can't have, the coefficient in front of the x be negative. So there we are. Okay, I want you to do this next one. Pause the video and do this problem. And this is what you should have gotten. Okay. So now we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines are non-vertical lines in the same plane and they have the same slope. Okay? Perpendicular lines their non-vertical lines are perpendicular. The property of the slopes is negative 1. So I'm going to tell you that it's the opposite reciprocal. So if you had 4, that means the other slope has to be negative 1/4. Because when you multiply these together, you would get negative 1. So they're opposite reciprocals of each other. Okay, so here we go. Parallel lines, we just said they have the same slope. So I'm going to put this into point slope first. Y minus 2 equals 3x plus 4 because x minus a negative 4. I would get y minus 2 equals 3x plus 12. If I add this over, because it doesn't say what form to put it in. So here I've got the point slope. Here I've got the slope intercept. And if it wanted it in the standard form, I would do negative 3x plus y equals 14. Multiply everything by negative 1. So 3x minus y equals negative 14. So that's how you would do it in each one of the forms. Okay, over here. Hopefully you pause the video. And this is what it would be in point slope. Oops, sorry. That's what it'd be in point slope, slope intercept. Okay, awesome. Here we go. Perpendicular slope. Well, first of all, this is not in slope intercept form. So that's the first thing I have to do. So I have to get this over here so that I know what the slope is. So 2y equals negative 3x plus 12. Then divide everything by a 2. When I do that, I get negative 3 over 2x plus 6. So my slope on this one is negative 3 over 2. If I want the perpendicular slope, I should have changed colors. If I want the perpendicular slope, that means I flip this upside down, so 2 over 3, and I take the opposite. The opposite of a negative is a positive. So my slope is going to be 2/3 on this one. So my slope over here is going to be 2/3. If I plug it into the point slope, it's going to be y minus a negative 2 equals 2/3 x minus 1. So that would be in point slope. If I put it in slope intercept, well, first of all, let's get rid of that 3. Because 3's aren't as easy to deal with. So 3y plus 6 equals 2 times the quantity x minus 1. 3y plus 6 equals 2x minus 2. Subtract the 6. 3y equals 2x minus 8. Divide everything by 3. And y equals 2/3 x minus 8/3. Okay, so, oops, that's not the one I wanted. Sorry. This one before it got manipulated. Okay, awesome. So now I want you to do this one over here. First, you have to get the equation so that you, and points are in slope intercept, so that you can find the slope and then plug it in. Pause the video. So hopefully you found that the slope for this one is 1 over 6. So the perpendicular slope of that would be the opposite reciprocal. And oops, I don't know why I did it that way. And it should be like that. Okay, so down here we have to tell, we have to tell whether these are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So first I look at AB because it wants line AB or line segment AB. And I want to do this color. And line segment EF. So I have to find the slope. So I'm going to find the slope of the first set. So 5 minus 8, 2 minus 6. I get negative 3, right, over negative 4. I have to make sure I'm doing it right. Okay. And then over here, I get 5 minus a negative 3 over 0 minus a negative 6. That will get me 8 over 6, which simplifies to 4 over 3. Now, some of you might say, oh, they're perpendicular. Yes, they are reciprocals of each other, but they are not opposite, so this would be neither. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing. You're going to find the slope of each one of them. Pause the video. Okay, so AB, I found that my slope was negative 2/5. My CD, I found my slope is negative 2/5. So that means my lines are parallel.